Jim Jones' music is dope. Let me say that.
Yeah.
The nigga music is dope. I don't know who's writing this shit, but what I do know is that some of the stuff that I listen to, I like. And it's not so much of the music with Jim Jones. It is, but it isn't. What it is it's just the message. Like, for example, when you call yourself a lobby boy, nigga, you corporate right now. That niggas is millionaires. Show the young boys how to transition into the corporations, into businessmen, instead of showing them how to go into the penitentiary. Because it's either the penitentiary or early grave with the energy. Words are spells.
Right.
And your lyrics and your actions, you're casting spells on these children. Let them know hip hop should come with a warning label. Warning, warning, warning. If you listen to this bullshit that's coming out of my mouth, you're gonna fuck your life up.
Right. And I mean, there's an additional layer of like pressure within hip hop for you to have not spoken out the way that you have about big things like the Bambaataa thing, or even like a little thing like you know, being a little critical of Jim Jones, because we all recognize that in a lot of ways, it's not that hip hop is a dying art form, but traditional classic hip hop quite often doesn't get the respect that it deserves, especially the older generation and stuff. So like, I think that that's an additional layer of why people were so shocked to see you kind of come out and be so critical of Bambaataa, regardless of his actions, is just because we all sort of have this understanding that it's important for us to like hoist our hip hop elder statesmen up, because the mainstream media is not going to do it. A huge percentage of the hip hop media platforms are primarily concerned with talking about the young kids and shit like that. And that must have been part of the difficulty with you coming forward about all that shit as well, right?
The most difficult part of that period is just admitting that I was touched by men. I'm a soldier. You know, if you gay, that's not a problem. It's like, okay, but when you're not gay, that's like, nah. And then to have everybody sit up there and say, well, you are gay because you was around this man for so many years and we found a picture. No, you didn't find a picture. The pictures that they have with me and Africa Bambaataa on the internet is the ones that I used to prove that I knew this man. But behind some of these other platforms that like to get content, they'll grab a picture and say, well, oh, I caught this. And yeah, he was sleeping with Bam and this is Bam's lover. No, I was raised by the man.
Man, it's crazy to me because absolutely nobody would use that same logic with a woman who was raped or molested when she was young. But at the same, like, you know, you were young. You were essentially a child coming into this arrangement or like being introduced to this world. It's like you were essentially powerless compared to all this shit that was around you, right?
Now, see, the shit that kills me is that black people call white people the devil, but it's the black man that sit up there and tells me that I liked it. And it's the white man that sit up there and say, nah, this can never happen again. Explain that, black man. It's the white man that says, nah, we not going to tolerate this shit. But it's the black man that sit up there and say, come on, man, you know you liked it.
Because there's like an overall problem in hip hop that we see really primarily playing out with the drill shit. But then I'm also like being kind of reminded of it when I'm looking at some of the reactions that you've gotten from different people coming forward about the Bambaataa shit, is that there's a tendency in hip hop to, when you have an argument, to go to the worst possible thing. We're going to talk about your dead homies. We're going to talk about your mom, your girl, all of the worst shit ever. And I see people do it to you too, including like people who wouldn't normally conversate this way, but they'll gladly use that shit against you or use it as a punchline or try to create a fake narrative of you being, you know, a willing participant in it or whatever. And to me, that kind of makes me feel like, oh, maybe these drill kids are not so different from a lot of the older guys that they grew up around, because they're so quick to lean on like saying the worst thing possible, which is likely to get a positive reaction from the internet peanut gallery that just wants to hear, you know, murder and bloodshed and the most offensive shit possible. But I feel like that's something that hip hop needs to really like proactively get out of its system, is that style of communication.
I respect the drill movement. I don't like it, but I respect it more than I respect these other rappers, because these other rappers done preach murder, death, kill, but ain't caught no bodies. These drill rappers are telling you, this is how I feel and I'm going to kill you, and they do it. I'm not saying that is right, but they do it. They live in what they speaking. So as when you get a rapper like Jim Jones, and you look at the history of how he's been violated, beat up in the middle of the polo grounds, how he's been robbed and niggas done had his jewelry all over the internet, how you see him in either Boston or Connecticut and all his dudes is getting beat up around him and he ain't even throwing out one punch. But everything that comes out of your mouth is murder, death, kill. For me, I think you should be who you are. Because certain people, when you go through certain things, there's going to be bodies dropping. That's the bottom line to that. My whole thing is hip hop is a competitive sport, but at the same time, as you get older, with age comes responsibility. And when you know you're not living and you're not doing certain things, why push that shit on the kids? After watching so many deaths between New York and Chicago and the drill movement, I got disgusted with these old niggas. And for me, I don't give a fuck who you are, who your entourage is. If I see something, I'm going to say something. Silence is approval. And some people fail to realize is that evil never takes a day off, and if you don't say something, evil will spread to the suburbs. And it's happening.